Good morning, dancers. How awesome is this to be celebrating you today alongside your faculty and your family and your guests. Today is your graduation day, and this is a big deal. I'm very honored to be here to celebrate this with you guys. Over the years, I have been fortunate to orbit around this USC Kaufman program. Many of you I've worked with in classes or workshops. Some have auditioned for me. Some of you I have hired, and I've observed all of you at some point in the many performances that I have attended here. Right. Each time I come across a USC student, I'm impressed by your technique, your artistry, and the variety of movement and styles that you're exposed to here at Kaufman. You are graduating from a passionate program that cares for all things dance. Your dance eyes are wide, and you learn to be curious and respectful of many styles. I'm excited that you're the next contestants on This Is Your Dance Life. You are armed with an incredible amount of dance knowledge, and this, my dear dance friends, is going to be what sets you apart from so many of your peers as you start to navigate this big, bad music, this big, bad business of art making. I moved to Los Angeles in 1994 with the classic story of $500 and a suitcase. I was a kid from a small town in Colorado, and I had, on paper, no business moving to La La Land. I knew nothing about the industry, I knew nothing about the city, but I knew that I loved to dance. Little did I know that I had a superpower that would start to reveal itself as I evolved and grew as a dancer, teacher, and choreographer. My first classes as a young dancer were breakdancing and ballet. That's right, I was in a breakdancing crew, and I had my purple parachute pants and my double Velcro red Reeboks. I was obsessed with backspins and pas de bourrées. I couldn't get enough. I think I was like an early version of AI. It was just, I guess, kept getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And then that means that I wanted to sign up for other classes. I signed up for tap, I signed up for belly dancing, then modern, Graham, Horton, then came improv classes, jazz classes, folkloric classes, lyrical classes, flamenco classes, partnering classes, acron classes, clogging classes. I signed up for anything, I couldn't get enough. And I didn't know it at the time, but being exposed to all those different styles of dance would definitely allow me to be very successful in a lot of different kinds of mediums and spaces. I was armed with dance knowledge. And as I grew with dance, I found that I loved being a dancer as much as I loved teaching a dancer, and equally as much as I loved creating on a dancer. Cue the identity crisis. I really struggled with needing to know, was I a dancer, was I a teacher, or was I a choreographer? Was my style jazz? Was it contemporary? Was I better at commercial work or stage work? Was I better suited for TV or film or stage? Should I just make teaching my career? Couldn't I be all of these things? And couldn't I do all of these styles? I felt like I knew a little bit about a lot. And for a long time, I thought maybe that was a bad thing. Maybe it wasn't cool because I didn't put all my eggs in one basket. I wasn't necessarily incredible at any one thing. I was just good at a lot of things. Had I found it, was that my superpower? No, it was not. That was not my superpower. All that knowledge about lots of different styles and enjoying teaching, creating, and teaching would certainly help me along the way, but it wasn't the thing that came in clutch in just the moments that I needed it. It wasn't my superpower. In the last 4 years here at USC, I'm rather certain you've taken a lot of dance class, right? That's what I thought, yeah. You've spent countless hours in the front of the mirror showing up when you didn't feel like it, or when you were so sore you thought your hamstrings had shrunk 7 inches overnight. You showed up when you weren't even sure if you liked dance anymore. You felt your cracked feet on the studio floor when you were stressed about the paper you probably should have written and didn't. You watched yourself warm up over and over again. You started to enjoy a great plie, and you maybe giggled to yourself when you finally nailed that frappe combo and you hoped somebody saw it. You experienced little victories when you finally coordinated your body and pulled your life together across the floor. You also felt many a defeat when you couldn't quite find the rhythm that you were sure you felt in your bones. And you cheered for your peers when they flew. You also secretly hated them when that little jealousy monster reared its ugly head. Those times in class, in front of that mirror, under the watchful eye of your professors, were preparing you for way more than dance. Those moments prepare you for life. And it's the showing up that matters. Show up for your life. It's yours. And the cool part is, like a great dance class, you get to share that space with other humans who show up for their life. Show up for each other, make plans and keep them. Just the same as when you told yourself you were going to stick that triple pirouette or else. It's the same thing. We seem to be in a time that's easy not to show up, not to present, or not to be present, and not to commit. But we know better as dancers. It doesn't work like that for us. We can't fake it. The result is directly tied to the effort and the time put in. We as dancers also know that what it feels like to fail and not to get it and to keep working for it. I find myself very thankful for those moments in my life when I failed. In fact, I think I failed a lot in front of millions of people every week on a little show called So You Think You Can Dance. I started choreographing on that show in season 3. I was really young. And over the next 14 seasons, I basically grew up in front of that audience. One week, I would have an amazing show-stopping number. And the very next week, I'd have the worst number and my couple would go home. And then I'd have a week where the judges loved my number and I hated it. The very next week, I hated my number and the judges loved it. All the while, so many critics in the comments and loads of people who passionately thought I was the worst choreographer who had ever stepped foot on that show. It was hard to keep showing up, but I did, and I kept listening and learning and trying to get better at my craft, because there's no formula for choreography. At least for me, there isn't. Sometimes what comes out of my head and my heart and my body is amazing. And then sometimes I'm not really sure what it is. And then other times it's terrible. It's really bad. And that's okay, because I'm human. I'm not AI like I thought I was when I was young. And even though I don't like it, I allow myself to fail. And I hope that you also fail a lot. And I hope that you fail many times over, and that you have the courage to allow other people to fail too. I think we can all use a little bit more grace with the idea of failure, both in ourselves and in others. You know, many people ask me what I think makes me successful as a choreographer. I think it's simple. I say yes and I show up. Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And that is #truth. And sometimes all you have to do is say yes and give it a shot. And also Google says the origin of that quote is debated, so don't quote me. And I realize that it's not easy for some people to show up and take the shot. I don't find it hard. For maybe showing up is like a superpower. That must be it. That's why I can do what I do. I just show up. That's not it. It goes deeper than that. It goes back to the beginning. It goes back to the young girl who would make up dance shows with her sister and make her mom and dad watch. It goes back to the middle schooler who would play the Debbie Gibson cassette and make up solos on the back porch. It goes back to the high schooler who would go to the dance studio for an hour before school and practice. It goes back to the young teacher who was wild with the idea of sharing with her students. And it goes back to the young woman who asked people to dance on cars on a freeway. It goes back to the fact that I love dance. That is my superpower. My love for dance has been with me from the start. And I've drawn it like a sword in the moments that I doubted myself, in the moments I celebrated myself, and in the moments when I danced by myself. I am most certain that you and I share the same superpower. The thing that you feel inside when you move, when you express through shape and texture and technique. It's yours and yours alone. Wear it like a cape, and it will be with you through the whole journey. Now you're ready for your next adventure. You're armed with dance knowledge. You will show up, and you know your superpower. Make sure to find the fun. Don't be afraid to seek the sadness and hover over the happy. I wish you all the best out there, and I cannot wait to see you along this path. Congratulations, class of 2025.